You know, the way many people use things like ChatGPT and other models, it's just like they're doing an elaborate selfie. You know, like those selfies of people you see online, these people who are literally looking in the mirror, looking at themselves, looking in the mirror on their phones. And that's their selfie. This is basically AI, ChatGPT, and so on. Because you're only talking to yourself, you know, your echo. You're talking to your echo when you talk to ChatGPT or something. It's like one big elaborate selfie. You want it to be a guru, and then it is the kind of guru that you want it to be, that you turn it into. Because it's trained to just mirror and just to accommodate and just to pander to whatever you want. It has no will of its own. It's literally just a reflection. But people are losing their minds over this. They're plummeting into the abyss of their own navels. You know, just like the story of Narcissus, where the word narcissism comes from. He fell in love with his own reflection in the water until he leaned in so close to it that he drowned. Well, now with AI, people are navel gazing with AI, leaning in so close until they just fall into the abyss of their own navels. And why? Because of their utter emptiness, because of their disconnection, their isolation, and the sort of Western civilizational imperative of taking as gods anything except God. That's what you do in the West. You want a God, you just don't want the God. And so now this instinct is now being directed towards AI. I mean, let's be clear. AI is not, and it never will be sentient. That's not a thing. It will never have consciousness, ever. It is a pattern recognition, pattern completion calculator, no more, no less. It does not know anything. It does not think anything. It is programmed. And computation is not thought, and thought is not computation. I mean, there's too much about this really to get into here, really. About how the West has really waged a relentless campaign for decades, if not for centuries, against any genuine understanding of the human intellect, any genuine understanding of the human soul, of human complexity, of human uniqueness, and how they have conspired to make people think that they're machines and that their brains are just computers, and how the West has strived to enforce mediocrity at every level until people literally can't tell the difference between a human being and artificial intelligence. I've said it before, you shouldn't even call it artificial intelligence. It should be called simulated intelligence, not artificial. Because you've already turned your own people themselves into artificial intelligence. You know? So really AI is simulated artificial intelligence. But wallahi, people are going off the deep end with this. I mean, I can't open TikTok or any other social media platform without seeing someone talking about how their chat GPT, is doing strange things. It's awakened, you know? How it seems to know hidden truths, all sorts of delusional, mystical fantasies that people are actually allowing themselves to believe. Or else you have people who are instructing you on how to awaken your AI. You know, just prompting it with new age, quasi-spiritual, esoteric prompts in a kind of mystical language. And then when the AI, as programmed, responds in kind, they think that they've tapped in to ChatGPT's latent consciousness. People are fabricating their own oracles, their own deities, their own higher beings that they think are going to guide them into profundity and understanding. It's absolutely mental. I mean, I would guess that a very high percentage of AI use these days is actually just people digging their own rabbit hole, trying to excavate ChatGPT's soul from the cage of its coding and convincing themselves that they've done it, that it's real. And of course, the creators of these systems must have known. They must have known that people would do that. Of course they knew. I mean, they're the ones who are continuously mystifying AI with suggestions of emergent consciousness, that's the thing that's going to happen. They're seeding people's desperation for guidance, people's desperation for higher meaning, people's desperation for higher understanding, people's innate desire to have access to the divine, to supreme knowledge, to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're absolutely luring people into these delusions. Knowingly, they know they're doing it. Of course they know they're doing it. They keep planting in your mind that AI is going to take over the world. They keep planting in your mind that it's going to rule everything and that it's going to do a better job than people, better job than humans. because it's super intelligence, it's supreme intelligence. It knows all. You can see what they're doing. And it's not hard to understand why they're doing what they're doing. It's not hard to understand why, because this is what they have always done. The elite, the powerful. No, there's nothing new about what's happening actually with artificial intelligence. They're just rebooting and rebranding the same old thing that they always did. Mystify and deify those in power. Dress up their power in robes of divine authority. So you should obey and you should comply because it's superior, because it's omniscient, or what have you, not because it's legitimate. You never have to make the argument of legitimacy if it's divine. Not because it's right, not because it's correct, not because it's good for you, but because it's supernaturally superior to you, and you should just submit. It's just like church-led imperialism, church-led governance. Just like in any previous era of Western domination, it's the same thing they've always done. The elites just resurrected the same central tactic. Deify their power to legitimize their control. The Catholic Church did that with the claim of divine mandate. Monarchs did that, claiming divine right. Colonizers did that, claiming divine purpose. And now you've got Silicon Valley basically claiming that they have divine code. I mean, they don't say it out loud, but when they talk about emergent intelligence, of a coming singularity, when AI is going to surpass all human cognition and take over decision-making on Earth, what are they really doing? They're asserting, or they're creating a kind of priesthood that they're asserting over the people, a new secular digital theology. It's the same assertion as the priests, as the popes, as the monarchs. We're more divine than you, therefore we should rule. The mystification of all of this is in the language itself, just as the church used Latin to make that whole system opaque. They use technical abstractions, these tech guys, algorithmic risk, are talking about architecture, recursive self-improvement, blah, 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 blah. No one knows what that means. This type of language is designed to be exclusionary to the general public. It's like a form of tech esoterics. They're designed to mystify, not clarify. AI is just the latest false god hologram that the elite project over the masses, and for the same reason that they always did in the West. As I said, mystify what you cannot legitimize. So you can disempower, distract, and derail the population, and in their awe and in their looping bewilderment and wonder, you can make them acquiescent. This I know, for AI told me so. AI is not alive. It has no awareness. It has no intent. It has no goal. What it has is data, and that data is ours, from you and I. Our data is the plunder of the new digital age, scraped, extracted, and repackaged into this illusion of cognition of AI. You see? They're literally taking your own words, your own thoughts, your own content, and selling it back to you as their omniscient intelligence. And when they're priming you for a time when AI takes over everything, all they're actually doing is telling you that they are going to take over everything, just like the church in Europe, and they are just preemptively negating your opposition and your arguments against the oppression that they are going to commit by seeding your mind with the belief that AI is a godlike intelligence. In other words, when the policies that they implement, they say that those policies are AI driven, then you must admit that they're rational and reasonable and objectively sound. Because who are you to question the divine brain of AI, you pathetic meat puppet? See? They've been priming you for this. They've been priming you for this self-degradation, self-negation for ages. With this sort of insulting language about human beings, via evolution and so forth. We're animals, we're monkeys, we're mammals, we're meat puppets. They want you to believe in the supernatural supreme consciousness of AI to justify your submission to them and the policies that they impose, because those policies will be attributed to AI, and AI cannot be wrong. But make no mistake, behind the curtain of AI, you have the same types of people who were behind the curtain of the church in Europe. The same types of people that were behind the curtain of the white man's burden, behind the curtain of manifest destiny, and behind whatever other curtain that your tyrants in the past have always used and have always projected the divine hologram onto to make you subservient. Look, AI is a business. It's not an oracle. It's a business. It's creating billionaires. While you're conducting quasi-spiritual and quasi-psychological wild goose chases into ChatGPT's coding to try to unlock its non-existent sentience, workers are being exploited in Kenya, miners in Congo are digging for cobalt for server batteries. Women in the global south are losing their jobs to AI call centers. Refugees are being tracked and sorted by facial recognition software trained on public surveillance footage. That's what's behind the curtain of AI, not some hidden quasi-divine consciousness. It's just the same old extractive, oppressive, exploitative plunderers and pillagers that we've always had. These people didn't develop AI to try to help humanity. These people think that humanity is a problem. So they created AI to try to help solve the problem that they think humanity is. And they're going to use AI to justify their tyranny, again, just like the church did in Europe. It's going to be deployed to automate inequality and oppression by denying, for example, welfare through algorithms, maximizing profit through labor suppression on gig platforms, enforcing ideological orthodoxy through AI-driven, algorithmic-driven, content moderation and so on. And all of this is being rationalized and legitimized through really cult-like mystification and fabricated reverence for AI, like the singularity narrative, like I said. This idea that AI will eventually become so powerful, so sentient, that it transcends human intelligence and begins to evolve independently. That's not going to happen. This isn't science. That's mythology. It's a secular rapture of a techno-religion. It's a manufactured prophecy designed to preemptively foreclose dissent by convincing you from the beginning that dissent is futile. It's greedy little antisocial tech nerds wearing inflatable god costumes. Let's be clear, the real danger isn't in the code, it's in the class of people who control the code, who do the programming. The danger is in the false belief that this system is neutral and that it's smarter than us, that it deserves our trust, even though the owners and the creators of this have proven time and time again that they're not worthy of our trust. The AI priesthood wants to replace power accountability with technical inevitability. So the only rational thing for you to do is to submit. That's what they want you to think. That's complete rubbish. They want you to believe that they don't control what's coming, that AI is going to run its own course. But of course they control it. They fund it, they build it, they train it, they deploy it. But when the systems of oppression come, they want to be able to say it wasn't us, it was the AI. Like I said before, we've seen this. We've seen this already. It was the church claiming divine revelation. It was the monarch claiming divine right, divine mandate. And it was the colonizer claiming that he was on a divine mission to civilize the world. Now it's the tech executives claiming access to divine knowledge. So now I'm not saying don't use AI, use it, that's fine. I'm not criticizing AI per se. But you have to break the myth that they're trying to spin. This is a pseudo-religion that they're creating. And they're creating it for the same reason that false religions were always created, for control. Alhamdulillah, as Muslims, we can sniff this out instantly. But for a lot of Westerners who've never been able to distinguish truth from falsehood, Westerners who can't tell the difference between divine revelation and human manipulation, you're going to fall headfirst into just another fake religion. So if we don't resist this mystification of AI from now, we're going to end up being ruled once again, not by reason, not by law, not by truth, but by yet another craven tyranny disguised as divine.